Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar, Why Go All In on Facebook Live. We are going to get started here in just a moment. I'm going to get things kicked off. The webinar is now being broadcasted. We are recording. Okay, great. So we cannot do that. Let's do this. Let's share our screen. And just bear with me for one moment as we go ahead and get this thing going. We should be sharing our screen, and let's go from here. Let's do this because I'm gonna need to see my chat. Just bear with me for one moment, and let's go with PowerPoints. How about that? Contacts, meetings, they, home. I don't think that that's the case. So we've got 3 participants obviously into our webinar that are joining here as we get started. I appreciate you as I work through some of my technical challenges. I'm going to close out this. Janet, if you or Dina can actually see my desktop, if you could, just go ahead and give me some sort of note in the chat that would give me an idea of what you're actually taking a look at. My screen share is paused. That's not good. Let's do this. We want to make sure that that's happening. Can you put your hand up? You can see my screen. Janet, you can see my screen. That's cool. All right. So we're making progress there. 3 attendees have hands up. Mike, thanks for dropping by. I really appreciate it. Okay, so let's get out of that mode. Let's get into home mode. And let's just get into let's float this over here, Q&A. So we can do that. And let's also get into any sort of chat mode. We can see the chat. Deanna can see it. You can hear me too. If I'm asking you could see it, you could probably not only see it, but you could hear it as well. So that's the good news. And you obviously can still see my screen, right? So that's good. And we're going to leave that open. Quick question for you. As you look at my screen, Dina, are you seeing the PowerPoint presentation only, or are you seeing the Zoom chat? I'm seeing the PowerPoint slide on the screen. Beautiful. That's exactly what we want you to see. So cool. So in any case, we're going to get started here in just a moment. I appreciate everybody dropping by. We've got an interactive webinar today, why it's time to go all in on Facebook Live. Very excited about this. We are going to just dive in. I like to be prompt with my webinars, and if they say they're going to start at noon, I generally get started at noon. So let's take care of a couple of housekeeping items, if we will. First up, this is an interactive webinar, so we're going to stop, pause, ask polling questions throughout the course of today's webinar. In addition to that, you can chat with me, and I will do what I can to basically ask and answer any of your questions. We will have a live Q&A at the end of today's webinar. We've had about, I'd say about 25 people register for this event, so it's pretty cool that we've got you on, and I appreciate everybody, Janet, Dina, Mike, Fortunato, thank you for dropping by. We will be recording this event today so that we can repurpose this and you can share this with your colleagues. Go back into your notes. This is the DOYO Live webinar series. We should be doing these monthly moving forward after the first of the year as you get ready to walk into the holidays. That guy on the right-hand side is me. I'm the founder of DOYO Live Digital Marketing Interactive Design Conference. We are heading into our 3rd year. over 500 people have participated in DOYO Live in our first 2 years. We've had some amazing keynote speakers, including Joe Polizzi, Deborah Jasper, Nate Riggs. We've had 35 breakout sessions. Some of you that have been breakout sessions are on the line today, so appreciate that, and appreciate wherever you're at in your day, spending some time with us. Over your lunch hour, maybe, we should be trying to figure out a way to buy you lunch. In any case, let's talk about the agenda. We're going to talk a little bit about why Facebook Live makes sense in 2017, heading into 2018 with about a week to go. How are you going to develop that strategy? What are you going to measure for success? I'm going to actually walk you through a screen share over to Facebook and give you an idea in a sense as to what I'm looking at. How-tos, best practices. Let's get creative. We're going to also talk about what's really important here and, buyer's journey. What's the lead? What's the awareness factor? What's the lead gen factor? So, any case, please feel free to ask questions in the chat. Today's event is being sponsored by two of our year-long sponsors for DOYO Live Digital Marketing Interactive Design Conference. That's Integrated IT Group. They are an outsourced IT entity that can provide day-to-day management services, consulting, and solutions. Services such as backup, DR, implementations, and then manage your IT solutions as well. And the Valley Digital Services is birthed out of WFMJ and the Vindicator. That is their digital arm. They offer comprehensive services across digital marketing and traditional advertising with those two mediums locally owned and operated. So let's get into it. Well, why do we want to have not a Facebook strategy, but a Facebook Live strategy? And the reason we want to do this is very simple, is that we know that organic reach has been declining dramatically ever since the stock price went public, and it's been going up. And you could go and Google this article. It's been out there for quite some time. Facebook stock is obviously Facebook stock is obviously trading over $100 a share at this point. So this is obviously a little bit dated, but this goes to show you that as organic reach has gone down, the stock price has gone up, and that's obviously by design. The smart kids in Silicon Valley wearing the hoodies to work every day created a very awesome platform that marketing people and people in general love, a social sharing platform. And in case any of you know something that I don't know, my Facebook account is free. I have a username with my email address and a password, and I'm able to get on Facebook, and I'm able to interact with people from around the world. But what happened is that Facebook obviously had to figure out a way to make money, and it's obviously a big advertising platform, and that's really what the model was built off of is information. And so what happened along the way is that Facebook used to use a term called EdgeRank. EdgeRank was basically the formula that was applied to what you would see from a Facebook page and from your friends or family into your news feed. They've somewhat got away from that, and they built something called, with all marketing and business people now sound really smart and nerdy and like they're super intelligent, called the algorithm. The Facebook algorithm follows around, and every conversation you hear that people will drop that term, and it's basically Facebook's way of showing you information that you interact with on the web with your friends, in your friend circle, thousands of data points that are mathematical equations as the way that you get shown data. If Facebook were to make a decision to show you everything that you followed from a page and from your friends' perspective, you'd get over 1,500 updates a day. So Facebook knows better than us, and based upon that mathematical equation, that's how they show us information. They also show us information based upon you as an advertiser paying to play for that audience. I like to believe, however, that Facebook has a bunch of minions working in the background. Doesn't that sound so much more exciting and interesting than just some sort of fancy mathematical equation that makes a decision as to what you get to see? Obviously, that's not the case, but you get the point. So the reason why we need a Facebook Live strategy is this, is that Facebook knows more about us than we know about ourselves. How do I know that? Well, the post on the right popped into my feed. It shows me what I was doing a year ago today. It shows me what I was doing 5 years ago today. I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. And it's less about the numbers, meaning that, yeah, great. There are 2 billion people worldwide that are on Facebook that have an account. There's 1.15 daily mobile users. 29% of the people are between 25 and 34. But at the end of the day, if you're a small business in a local community, you don't care about 2 billion people. You care about the 10, 15, 20,000 people that you could potentially do business with. And that's what Facebook is great about, is that once you set up a page, you're able to identify through some rudimentary operations of how many people with those behavioral interests that can be potentially in your target audience. So it is less about the numbers and more about what Facebook knows about you based upon your behaviors and your patterns. And from a marketing perspective, that's an awesome opportunity for you to take advantage of, and not necessarily always is it a pay-to-play environment. And that's why I think that Facebook Live makes a ton of sense. So this is where we got to where we are today. I have this fundamental belief that within 12 to 24 months, we all have the ability to be able to create our own reality TV show. For better or for worse, I completely get it. Not all of us are set out to be a Kardashian. However, the fact of the matter is Facebook in 2017, as we end the year and start the new year, feels a lot like it did back when I was marketing healthcare services on Facebook in 2007. And what I mean by that is this. In 2007, the adoption rate was starting to grow on Facebook. But the laggards sat there and they said, well, I don't really want to know what people are having for dinner or when they're brushing their teeth, because we didn't exactly know what to post on Facebook. But through the course of time from 2007 to 2017, we started to journal and chronicle our entire lives. I have a picture of my first son that's 8 years old, not even 5 minutes out of the womb, on the scale being measured, and I've documented and chronicled his life, nothing more intimate than that, through Facebook Live or through Facebook pictures. And as the platform evolved, people got more comfortable sharing these moments in static pictures. We shared birthday parties, we shared weddings, we shared births of just day-to-day moments. And then what has happened with Facebook Live currently is this. It feels like that all over again. We don't exactly know what to share. We don't exactly know how to approach it. Is it a business tool? Is it a personal tool? Do we want to be that exposed? Again, I was at the park with my kids back in early fall, and I went Facebook Live. And for some reason, I thought for a moment, this feels a little bit icky. Like, why am I going Facebook Live? But I do feel that what's going to happen, like what happened with Facebook, is that you have an extraordinary opportunity now, at least from a business perspective, to be able to build out an opportunity to be able to build traction on Facebook Live, just like you did with a Facebook page back in 2007 to 2010. Remember that day when in 2010 or 2012, and you're like, I don't know if Facebook's a real thing. And then you went to Facebook and you looked at your competitor, and they were in it from day one, and they had like 3,000 followers to their Facebook page. And you said to yourself, I really wish I would have committed to a Facebook strategy. So I feel like Facebook Live now is that those organizations that commit and start to build some sort of platform, some sort of strategy, that within 2 years, and as it already becomes a noisy environment with Facebook Live, will have an established credibility with some sort of Facebook Live show or coverage from their business, that business owner will look at it like the Facebook page back in 2010 and say, yes, I'm glad I did this. And here's the other proof point of this. So you've got the anecdotal, you've got my gut reaction from 10 years of social media marketing. The statistics from my perspective are this. DOYO Live is a digital marketing interactive design conference. I get it. It is our ideal platform to be educating our audience. But we're no different than you. We get really limited to no engagement on static pictures without any sort of linking. Actually, even if we link, it doesn't matter. Like if you want to go missing, just go create a Facebook business page and then post yourself on that. It's like nobody sees that information. So we very purposely designed that we would have a Facebook Live strategy, and that Facebook Live strategy would look like a short form and a long form format over the course of the past year. this is what it's meant to our platform. We found what our delivery mechanism needs to be. 89,000 minutes of videos viewed over the past year. 188,000 videos were actually viewed on our platform, which is a staggering statistic. And I can certainly assure you that the reach and the impressions follow along with that. And they just don't from the high quality picture. You want to know what our last quarter looked like? So from October 1st to basically 2 days ago when I was finalizing the preparation, we've had 22,000 minutes of our videos viewed, 40,000 videos viewed in total, which is, again, we're not getting that type of engagement from static posts. So that's why Facebook Live matters. And here's why else it matters. Because of the fact of this, we have had steady growth over the past year, and it's been methodical. It hasn't been crazy growth, but it's been steady growth. And if you look at the amount of likes to our page, which we know this, that when you have a post on Facebook, there was a point in time, a long time ago, where you might get 10% of your audience that engages with the post. Then that number, as organic reach went down to like 6%. Now it might be 1 to maybe 3% of that overall audience is actually engaging and seeing the post. So it does matter to a certain extent to make sure that you're growing your page following. It tells you stuff about your content. It tells you stuff about your business and about your strategy. More importantly, Facebook also gives you some additional abilities and capabilities if you have over 1,000 followers and under 1,000 followers when it comes to advertising, insights, and analytics. We have grown our platform over the past year by 80% in simply in likes. So what that's done for impressions, reach, and engagement has helped to increase it, 1,000%. And we track this back against our Google Analytics. And so therefore, we know that this strategy has obviously been a methodical approach. Show up, produce content on a consistent basis, and grow the audience from that perspective. I'm going to pause here for a moment because I can very easily go and talk for the next 40 minutes here. I'm going to launch our first poll. And our first polling question to make this interactive is, I want to hear from you. What is your most important social media channel right now today? I think it's just a one answer question. We have, and by the way, thank you everybody for dropping by today. I wholeheartedly appreciate it. I'm going to do my best to provide you with as absolute much value as I possibly can in today's webinar. So this poll has been open for about 30 seconds. We've got about 70% of our audience has participated. The answers, obviously, you can see them, or the selections. The answer for the most important social media channel today for 86% of our audience right now today happens to be Facebook. Instagram and YouTube also come into play. So I'm going to close that poll. And by the way, I am using a new platform. Zoom is the first time that I'm actually using this. I switched over for GoToWebinar, so I appreciate any sort of little bit of technical functionality that isn't quite perfect today. I'm being completely transparent and real with you. I'm working through some of this. So as the how and the why you start to develop a Facebook live marketing strategy, I think not how you develop it, but the reason why you start to develop it makes it a lot easier. What are your goals going to be going into developing a Facebook Live strategy? Are you looking to grow awareness for your brand? Is there a view count per video that you're looking to achieve? A play rate percentage? Shares per post? Click-through rate? Conversion? Are you looking for 40% year-over-year growth to your Facebook page? So are there short-term, are there long-term goals? Are you looking for a reach or an impression goal per month? Engagement, feedback. The other thing that we're measuring is, is there a number of times that you want to go live? So for instance, for us, we've made this commitment that we know that for over the past year and over the next year as well, we have a Facebook Live marketing show that goes live every Friday, pretty much at 11 a.m., programmatic Facebook content marketing strategy. And we want to obviously set that as a goal for ourselves. That's another type of goal that is a management business objective versus an outcomes-driven result. But in addition to that, we also have some other goals like this month, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our micro strategy or our micro campaign on 31 days of DOYO Live, where we want to go live every day this month. Do you want to measure leads? Do you want to measure conversions? It really helps if you're able to create an editorial mission statement. This comes right out of the Joe Pulizzi Content Marketing, Content Inc. So if you are able to develop some sort of platform or some sort of content mission statement, that will also help you to develop how you're going to develop your strategy. So for us, personally, for me, DOYO Live, this is what we've thought about. Number one, first and foremost, it aligns with our overall mission. We want to educate our audience on marketing strategy. We want to entertain you. So not everything that we do on our Facebook Lives is always going to be basically going deep dive and technical and tactical on marketing strategy and how to build. We want to have some fun. There's levity in this. It's not brain surgery, right? It's, we have a couple medical and healthcare people on it. They deal with serious stuff like all day long. I follow them on social media, and they've spoken at our conference. Our message is we like to have fun. We like to entertain. We like to engage with our audience. So we like to do different things tactically in the promotional strategy and the live strategy that will help to engage our audience. From an outcomes perspective, we're looking to basically create a groundswell of awareness for our business. Like, we want people to think anytime that there's a marketing question or marketing conference or marketing person in Youngstown, Ohio, regionally, we want them to think of DOYO Live. And more specifically, a lot of times I want them to think of me as that go-to resource. The other thing that we want to do is that we definitely want to figure out what is the lead gen strategy behind this? What is basically going to help us move the needle to a certain extent? We recently have had a campaign going. So this is another example of how you can measure. We launched the 31 days of DOYO Live. And basically the premise of this is that we wanted to go live every day this month. Sean Dent is actually on the webinar today. I followed him for the past year, where he actually went live every day for 365 days on Facebook and contributed to his vlog, which was an amazing accomplishment in pure just tenacity and determination to be able to do that and show up every day. So we decided to go 31 days of DOYO Live, but we've actually done that just about every day except 3 this month, because of the fact that 2 days I had absolutely nothing to say, and one other day we had a technical function. So month to date, we've had about 21 videos. We've delivered 30,000 impressions. We've reached 19,000 people, 10,000 video views. And what I'm also measuring, there's some tangible outcomes. Like, for instance, how many likes did we gain in October, November, and December in doing this activity? Like, how many followers are we getting? So in October, we had 24 new likes to our Facebook page, which is obviously not a great ROI. If you looked at that over the course of a 12-month period, that would definitely not be an 80% year-over-year growth. And in the month of November, I have it as an outlier because I feel like that was a pretty good month for the amount of new followers that we got. But we did have a specific campaign running to grow our call for speakers and awareness for that. And then obviously you look at December. Oops, sorry about that. You look at December, and we're on a nice pace. And as a result of that, a lot of that has to come back to the campaign. The business goal is this, is that we have super early bird tickets that are on sale now. And we want this strategy to basically help to contribute to us selling 100 super early bird tickets to DOYO Live. So we lined the Facebook Live objectives, with the business objective. So when we're doing these Facebook Lives, we're giving away what we deliver: education, entertainment, and engagement, creating awareness. And we do tickle in the fact that we have these super early bird tickets on sale. So we never want to get away from, who we are in that factor. Over the course of the time that we've been measuring this campaign, over the past 21 days, or this is actually up to December 17th, we've had 7,500 video minutes viewed. We've had 10,000 video views. So that's actually a pretty nice ratio, because we've actually, if you go back to it, we've had about a 50% ratio of video minutes viewed versus the amount of videos viewed. And I look at those statistics very carefully. I'm not so concerned that we're down 13% from our previous month or 19 days, because of the fact that we were running some promotional videos in order to be able to capture call for speakers for DOYO Live in 2018. One of the things I want to do here now, though, is I want to pop another polling question. And that second polling question is going to be this. It's very simple. Do you have a Facebook Live strategy? What are you doing Facebook Live? Anything currently? Yes, no, we've been considering it. And hopefully this webinar serves as an opportunity for us to maybe help engage you in some strategy for that. So I appreciate everybody's participation. We've got about, again, 70%. I hope it's not my same three people. I hope you're not sleeping out there. I'm just kidding. Thank you for answering the questions. So 70% of you that are on this webinar say that you either have no Facebook Live strategy or you've been considering it, and there are 0 yeses. So that tells you a little bit about the adoption rate of the overall Facebook Live strategy. So one of the things I also want to do while we're at this here is this actually helps to do this. So what I'm going to do, I'll pause my screen. I'm going to hop over to my desktop share, and I'm going to go to Chrome. See if I could pop this open, because what I want to basically do is I want to take a moment to share with you. I need to get out of presentation mode. I think I'm screwing this all up. And maybe I shouldn't do that. All right. You know, what we'll do at the end of this is I will come back to hopefully showing you how we measure on each individual post. It's very important that we consistently take a look at the amount of views that we're getting per video, how many seconds people are watching that video, the engagement per video, and how we structure the strategy moving forward, and some surprising statistics that you're going to end up seeing. Quick question for you. I got back to, it's saying that my screen sharing is paused. I'm back. It should say planning and creation awareness promotion. If you can see that, please raise your hand. That will give me some indication that you can actually see my screen. So thank you, Sean Fortunato. Thank you, Janet. Everybody raised their hand, so I appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and lower all the hands. School's in session, right? So first of all, let's get creative. Let's talk about the creative aspect of it. What is basically going to be the premise? Now that you're establishing some goals, some objectives, you've got an idea of what you're going to try to accomplish. And so this is how you start to get into developing some strategy based around what you're trying to accomplish. So in that conversation, it's this. It's what are we going to do? What's the premise of our show? And if you look at everything that is in inbound and content marketing strategy, it stems around this. It stems around you're going to provide ongoing expertise on a consistent basis on a subject that you're knowledgeable and passionate about, and you're going to show up on a consistent basis and educate your audience, grow your tribe, convert that audience with the awareness factor, with the content, into subscribing to some sort of email list, and then continually nurture that email list into some sort of conversion. That's been the written word in Web 2.0 marketing for the past decade. There's no reason why that Facebook Live cannot be an extension of that and give a face behind the written content. So when you start to look at it and you start to say creatively, what am I going to do? Is it going to be an interview style? Is it going to be location? Are you going to go a cappella? Like I'm telling you now, like it is very difficult for any of you that have done it to go Facebook Live and keep your audience engagement for any sort of period of time on at least a long format show. Do you want to put employees, customers, testimonials? I had somebody the other day like tell me that I should have a backdrop behind every show. So it's basically you start to look at the creative. You also have to start to look at the editorial calendar. And this is an exact example. Last year, something that we created heading into DOYO Live in 2017. And this is actually March. So you may actually see your name on this list. In any case, we use a very simple editorial calendar. We have an influencer marketing strategy. So all the names that you see here, Jeff, Danny, Sharon, Lisa, they were all contributors to the platform because they were breakout session leaders. This format is called the DOYO Live Daily, where it was a short 5-minute tips and tricks and how-tos. And then the Friday show was a DOYO Live marketing show where you can see there that we had this scheduled out for the guest. So as you develop your editorial calendar, that helps you to determine your alignment with both your strategy on the how-to from a creative perspective, and does it align with your end goals. The other thing is that we do is that we get a lot more granular with this when it comes to our own content. So like, I'm not going to set an editorial calendar for the people that are going to contribute to the platform. I'm going to give them their day. I'm going to give them hopefully a time, but I'm mindful that they're doing that for free, obviously. We will develop from our own perspective, and you can see here in the top left-hand corner, HubSpot is a tremendous resource when it comes to any sort of online asset, whether it comes to planning tools, content, strategy, tactical items, those sorts of things. Phenomenal technology. We don't use it. We don't get paid to say that, but I really like their editorial calendar. And this blog plus asset editorial calendar can serve as a way to develop your day, your publish date, your due dates, your topics, your titles, your content, keywords, target audience, all the things that are important when it comes to developing the editorial calendar. And everybody knows that from a marketing perspective, you look at your FAQs, frequently asked questions, reverse engineer, topics to your industry that are problematic that you can solve for, that your business solves for. You list those, and then you provide education, obviously, on that as well. The next thing you can do, and this is something that I really wanted to show you, so I'm hoping that I can actually show you that. When you're going to go live on Facebook, you definitely want to then work on your promotional strategy. And your promotional strategy looks something like this. You want to schedule your live. So in the application in itself, what you can do in Facebook is that you can actually go through the process of setting up the schedule, and it will actually begin a countdown to say, today at 10 p.m., DOYO Live plans to go live. You can set that to get a reminder if you're looking at that. And in this, you can tag different people. Pardon me. You can tag different people. You can show them, obviously, that they're going to be on the show. And then you could begin to share this around onto other pages that you might manage, onto groups that you manage, onto your own personal profile. You could even put this into a Facebook Messenger and invite people. I don't adhere to the strategy of spamming people. I do a lot of one-off invites, or if I create a group, it's an intimate group, like our committee made up of 8 people, to inform them that we're going Facebook Live. Please join us. If I have a group of 10 breakout session leaders, I might do that, but I wouldn't randomly spam like 100 of my closest friends on Facebook with this information. Let me make sure that I've got my chat going as well. Okay, so you want to schedule, and if I can, I'll jump over and I'll show you how to schedule, and I'll show you what to measure for as well. Also, we've got a time requirement. Pre-Facebook Live promotion looks like this. I talked about it in the middle. We've got Messenger, we've got Facebook, we've got cross promotion on other social media channels, which is like an old school strategy from back in the day, where you're going to take your Facebook and you're going to cross promote it to Twitter, and then you're going to take your Twitter and you're going to, and you're going to try and do something that's maybe native to Twitter, leave a video message, promote it in that capacity, leave the link back to Facebook. Instagram, we went on today to promote the webinar. You take the same strategy with your Facebook Live. Maybe you have a picture of the person that you're going to have on your Facebook Live show and you tag them. Maybe you're going to have the location. You're going to maybe tell that in their stories, or you're going to do a live. It's not the same methodology every time because people become numb to that, and you have to be a little bit disruptive in every one of your posts, and I believe that. The other is that we utilize MailChimp. We send out in our email newsletter, especially if it's on a Friday, that we've got the DO Live Marketing Show. Here, who's going to be on this. You can put this on your website from an events perspective. We've actually flirted around on Facebook before where we tested to say we're going to actually create an event for Facebook Live. Eventbrite, it's a scheduling tool that we utilize for registrations for the conference. I've never actually thought about using the Eventbrite application for a way to promote the DO Live Marketing Show, but maybe it's something that we should consider. There's a third-party integration tool called Zapier that will allow people to go to Eventbrite, register, and automatically be able to get interaction and engagement with Facebook and some of these other third-party tools. So that's what we do from a pre-Facebook Live promotion perspective. What we do once we go live is that we get social, we engage, we give shout outs to people, we make acknowledgments to people that are stopping by. If we have contextual background behind them, if they've come to the conference, we acknowledge the fact that this is a DO Live alumni person, or we just had lunch, or we grabbed coffee, or they were a breakout session leader, or they were a sponsor. And we absolutely positively make sure that we engage with our audience on the medium, just to make sure that they know that we are talking to them, to make them feel that they're important, obviously, and they are, for showing up as well. Tactical things once you get started. Cleveland Indian fans, you'll recognize that guy on the right-hand side. Call your shot. Like when you start your Facebook Live, one of the best practices that people continually will tell you to do is basically make sure that you describe what you're going to talk about first, because there's statistical data that shows that people tend to drop off. I'm guilty of this. Probably everybody's guilty of it. But if, for instance, yesterday we had a Facebook Live, we opened it with, talking about business blogging. And that was like the opening line. And then you kind of get into introducing yourself and your guests and that sort of thing. But you definitely should tell your audience what you plan to discuss. I said old adage, like this is like, there's nothing new here. Like talk about what you're going to tell your audience, what you're going to talk about it, and then summarize it. Go live for longer than 2 minutes. So what happens is that when you go live, there's a little bit of a buffer, and your audience will start to get notifications that you're going live. And what happens is that there is this belief in brevity in our world today, which there is. There's no doubt about it. But if you go live and you're live for less than 2 minutes, a lot of times even 5 minutes, you haven't given Facebook the opportunity to actually build your audience. And you're out before they even get there, and then you can't engage with them, and it's over. So just keep that in mind as well. Repurpose the content. I got a whole book on repurposing the content, but before we do that, let's go to another polling question. Let's hear from you. So what's the biggest challenge that you are faced with on social media today? I think you can provide more than one answer. Content, engagement, bandwidth to manage it. Like, do you have enough bodies, people, time? Developing your strategy. What is keeping up with changes in the technical aspects? What's the right platform? I should have put other. I didn't. You can put it in the chat if you want. But we've got a lot of choices that we could choose from. If you don't see a choice on there or maybe you don't have any challenges, that's fine too. A lot of people talk content, engagement, and bandwidth. Yeah, bandwidth's always a thing, man. Like, I think in any business, whether you're big or you're small, organizations have cut back on the amount of help that they're going to provide to their workforce, and everybody for 2 decades now. Downsizing has asked us to do more with less. Kind of an equal type of answering across the board. So let's talk about the repurposing strategy. So first of all, you want to get the most mileage out of your content. You've taken the time to create it. The quality versus quantity play is definitely in play. Here's our strategy. Facebook Live, for the better part of the past year, has served as the genesis behind our content strategy. Before all the experts start to say, don't build a house on rented space, I agree 1,000%. Facebook can pull DOYO Live at any time they want and revoke our access, even though we've spent a considerable amount of money on Facebook advertising over the past year. And the reason is that they own the platform. We do not. But I find some inherent flaws with the Web 2.0 strategy of driving everything back to your website. And I don't want to get too far into that, but that's a topic that I covered on a previous webinar from a content marketing perspective. But basically what I recognize is because we are bandwidth challenged and maintaining a written blog is a really difficult thing to do, I thought it was a great idea to basically let the spoken word serve as the genesis of the content. And meaning that when we go Facebook Live, we will basically go Facebook Live. We will promote that, and then we will take that asset, and you can actually download that Facebook video. And once you download that, there's different things that you can do with that. We noticed that there's no difference. So when we download it, we basically upload it into YouTube as an online free content archive / repository, and then try to get some of the benefits of search engine optimization out of YouTube being a Google product into our marketing strategy. We have embedded both YouTube and Facebook and have really not noticed any sort of additional gains from an SEO perspective. If anything, we gained more video views and grew our Facebook channel. So we tend to embed our Facebook post into our blog post, and then we will either paraphrase or we will actually transcribe that Facebook Live into a piece of blog written content. The reason that we do that is there is still a tremendous amount of value from a search engine optimization perspective of contributing written words to a page on a website that Google will index. What we will do a lot of times is that we will evaluate the performance of the Facebook Live to determine whether or not we're going to invest into an actual transcriptioning service. There are multiple ones out there on the web today. We use SpeechPad. You can simply upload a URL and or the actual media file, and within a day to a week, they will return a word-for-word written contextual transcript of what you were basically speaking about. We not only then repurpose that to our blog, we have now a year's worth of tweets. So we'll take that back, and one of my marketing managers, and I have one in addition to myself, we'll listen to that Facebook Live, and then we will try to construct tweets that are basically as a result of that Facebook Live, giving us a boatload of content for Twitter, linking that back obviously to our web asset. We will repurpose that into our email marketing campaign, and we will include that along with trying to just, again, continue to get as much mileage out of this as we possibly can. Devin, thank you for sharing that with me. Devin likes Trint, TRINT.com. And again, there's a number of these solutions that are out there. The great thing about the web, it's mitigated the barrier to entry, meaning that we can all now have a TV show with Facebook Live. We can have a radio show with a podcast. We can all have a written publication with a blog. We just have to include our time. And then there's also things like Trint that give us the ability to scale our operations with a transcriptionist that we would otherwise either have to outsource or employ. So these are some good options for you. Technology-wise, I typically always use my phone. I have flirted around with the desktop version of Facebook Live. The challenge is that on your camera, everything's opposite world. So if you're looking left on the computer, you're actually looking to the right. And it's very confusing and difficult. I don't exactly know where to look. So I have struggled with that just a bit. The other thing is that on the third-party applications, like there's a Be Live or Zoom right now to give me the ability to be able to stream live. I have found that to also be somewhat clunky. It doesn't work for me very well. The individual that you see in the hashtag of Best of Be Live, kind of a shameless plug, Rachel Moore, actually contributes to that third-party application. She was a breakout session leader at DOYO Live in 2017. She lives in Colorado, and I was pulling this together, and I found her. There's live stream, so There's different applications that you could use third party, anywhere from free to how much do you want to pay. Down here in the right-hand corner, a tripod is a really, really good idea. This setup from Best Buy will cost you $100. It has it has a light, it has 3 lenses, it has a microphone, and you know what? The tripod makes a lot of difference. Lighting, instead of having the light to your back, you obviously having the light in your face gives you a better impression. You don't want to look like you're sitting in a bunker in a third world country, you know, doing your Facebook Live. Angle, I think that says angel. Angle. You want people looking up your nose or kind of even eye level with you, so some things to think about there. And then there's also a big debate over vertical versus horizontal. If you hold your phone vertically, typically that's going to be better suited for the mobile environment. And if people are digesting your content, which most people are, logging in daily to Facebook from a mobile application, they're going to watch your Facebook Live, then it might make more sense for you to have a vertical versus horizontal type of situation. Okay. So we're getting down close to what I want to talk about. What's really important is buyer sharing, lead generation. And we're coming up on the bottom of the hour. So I appreciate, you know what? I must not have created that fourth poll. My bad. Okay. So anyway, lead generation. Why are we doing this? You know, obviously we want to create awareness. You've got different reasons. You want to grow your Facebook page. You want to grow your engagement. You just have vanity metrics like you see, like seeing yourself on Facebook Live. Hopefully that's just not the case. From a buyer's journey perspective, we look at this as a way that we're going to, again, educate, entertain, and engage. We're going to create awareness, and we're also going to generate leads from this. Now, from our perspective, the way that I look at Facebook Live is this, that there's two folds from an awareness perspective. I'm going to create awareness for the marketing conference, both with our audience that is tapping into the Facebook Live for our marketing event, but I'm also creating awareness with the person that a lot of times I'm going to be interviewing. And we talk all the time in marketing. It's like, we need to bring value to our audience. Well, hopefully I'm bringing value with the information I'm sharing today. The other ways of bringing value is literally one-by-one value. Like when I went out to Two Hot Mamas, the pepper people, this past week, I brought them value because I put them on a Facebook Live for 45 minutes. Now, they came to my conference last year. I want them as fans, and I want them to come back in 2018. It's very difficult for them to not want to buy a ticket to come to the conference in 2018 after I took 45 minutes of my time. Actually, it was about 2 hours out of my day, drive out, sit down for an hour, do the Facebook Live, get some valuable feedback, and then obviously get home as well. So kind of 2 hours out of the day to do that Facebook Live with them. But it's literally one-by-one engagement. I'm creating awareness. I'm bringing them value. In return, I'd like to believe that it will likely convert them, potentially coming to the conference. Again, it's a way of bringing value to your end user. So the lead gen aspect is, I'm creating live with our audience on the live, but I'm also creating just as much of awareness and value with the people that are sitting next to me. And the real magic, the real Phil Dunphy moment of our Facebook Live, and just to kind of give you a look behind the hood, is when we actually shut the computer. And I've sat there for an hour building equity into the person that I'm sitting next to interviewing, and they start to ask me marketing types of questions. With DOYO Live, we obviously have a platform that you can buy a ticket to come to the conference. The other opportunities that we have, though, through the platform is that we provide content marketing consultation and some services back to organizations, and that begins to build a relationship that may end up taking that one step further. So that potentially is not just a ticket to DOYO Live. It's potentially some services that we might be able to provide, and or it could be a potential sponsor. We have sponsors for the marketing conference as well. And so therefore we've brought some value. They understand the platform. They like the marketing. They like to learn more about our audience. And we literally sit there sometimes and talk for an hour or two, and it's completely worth it. It's a much different conversation if I just showed up, I called you and I said, I want to talk to you about sponsoring our conference. So this is a way of bringing value and you just have to find what it is exactly, that makes sense for you and for your organization in terms of the grand scheme of things. Because I'm here to tell you that if you do that, you will find, that is where the value ends up playing into the mix. Quick question for you. I've kind of have moved some things around, and I just want to make sure if you cannot minimize when you're recording the meeting. I want to show you some analytics on how we look at our Facebook Live. I think that that's important to the process. When you see my screen now, I want to show you, okay, I think I'm showing you the right thing. Okay, here we go. So basically what I'm showing you right now is that I take a look at each of these individual posts to see how they're performing. Blank screen there. Okay, we're good. So I take a look at this information, and I say, okay, we had how many peak viewers? What were the minutes viewed? How many video views did we get? When did they drop off? And you're looking at this going, the average watch time was 23 seconds. Yeah, the average watch time was 23 seconds. What was the engagement? How many people did we reach? 1,800 people with that post. 769 unique viewers. Post engagement. What was the video engagement? Which is another important factor. We're trying to figure out approximately how many people, 58 people engaged with that post. If I post this picture of us online right now, I will not get 58 post engagements. Who are top audiences and where are they located? And I literally will look at that from that perspective. The other thing that I'll do is I'll take the time to go down to the post, and then I'll take a look and I'll say, okay, we got 5 likes. And if I invited somebody, I'm going to know. And if I didn't and they already like it, that's great. If they don't like it, I invite them to like the page. So we go back and we get some additional lift in building the following to our Facebook page by obviously doing, by creating this overall strategy. And then I kind of go back down through and we look at different video views. The cool thing is that you can actually dig into and you can begin to take a look and filter on how many video views that you got for a particular post, and which is pretty cool. So then you can look at all the posts you got 1,000 views or 3,000 views or 2,000 views, and you can look at the time again and each of how this basically performed. And again, from my strategy, my perspective, I am not looking at this solely from the fact that, okay, I had 16 people jump on my Facebook page and look at this video and they only viewed a minute of it. The relationship that I built with Joe and Two Hot Mamas in that process is well worth the time spent doing the Facebook Live. And what can come out of that, in addition to the bonus, is all of you dropping by, obviously, to digest information that was valuable to the overall process. So there's a multi-pronged approach there. And the thing that you could do within your business is you can look at that and figure out what your moment is for that. The other thing that we do is that I am actually I'm a Hootsuite shop, at least for the time being. The only thing that I can find valuable with Hootsuite at this point are 2 things. Number one, it gives me an opportunity to be able to operate my Twitter strategy. So I can automate my Twitter account. Don't do anything else with it except for like some listening features. And then the third thing, I guess I say anything. The third thing is I look at it from an analytics perspective, and it gives me a nice clean dashboard here to see that over the past 20 days, that as I dig into my analytics here, I can see that I've had 31 posts, which is up from last month. I've gained 65 fans in the course of the month of December. I've got my engagement stats are showing that I've got an improvement, and my traffic isn't necessarily what we would love to see, but this gives us a nice snapshot as well from a dashboard perspective to say, is any of this stuff actually working? I'm going to now finish out with live Q&A. While you prepare your questions, either in the chat or live Q&A that I can answer for you, anything to do with anything that we're talking about today on Facebook Live, marketing in general. I'd love to help you out however I possibly can. This is a great opportunity for you to ask a question. And meanwhile, shameless promotion and plug. DOYO Live Super Early Bird tickets are on sale for $100. We've had over 60 people submit to be breakout session leaders for DOYO Live. We're not going to announce those individuals till March, but I will tell you, based upon the previous 2 years, we've got a ton of depth in the people that presented DOYO Live. We've had Joe Polizzi, Deborah Jasper, Nate Riggs, 35 breakout sessions, everything from Facebook 101 to using big data to make your digital marketing decisions. It's a great opportunity for networking. It's a high energy event, and you can score a ticket, which is a 55% savings up until December 31st for $100. So that's the deal that we're giving away. Currently, tickets will go up to $150 on January 1. So you've got time to grab that ticket. And then we just recently launched our digital deep dive. We are paying homage and big fans of Gary Vaynerchuk and a lot of things that he does. VaynerMedia does an immersive digital deep dive for the day. They charge $10,000 to go sit around VaynerMedia for about 12 hours and talk digital marketing strategy and workshop. We're going to give you the opportunity to do that for $499, which is not a drop in the bucket, but it's basically a 10-hour day of an immersive digital deep dive where we're going to custom tailor that to 12 people only, where only 12 people are going to be able to get a seat at that table. I'm partnering up with Deanna Facillo, and we're going to basically give you a deep dive in once we get you scheduled, we're going to talk to you about what do you want to cover. It could be Facebook Live strategy. We're going to have some open roundtable discussions, pick our brains on, what we know about digital marketing, and we're going to help you walk out of there with some digital deep dive strategy, develop a culture of marketing, that sort of thing. So that's out there on Eventbrite as well. In the meanwhile, you got a question? I want to answer it. I hope that you found any of this to be helpful, but we do have some time left, about 10 minutes or about 5 minutes left. Are there any questions that I could potentially answer for you about the overall marketing strategy? Question comes in from Dina. How intentional is your strategy as far as leading people from where they are now to where you want them to go? Example, do you plan your Facebook Lives or do you just wing it? So what I did from a strategic perspective up until this past September is that I called friends up of mine that are in marketing that I have a ton of respect for, and I said, do you want to be on the DOYO Live marketing show and simply sit around and talk marketing? And I built my editorial calendar around that topic. It just kind of dumb luck and metamorphosis. Like somebody was like, can you meet me at a restaurant? And so we went and did the restaurant, and it was random. And the restaurant brought us out a bunch of free food, and we weren't asking for that, and we don't ask for that. But then now people have started to send me swag to wear on the Facebook Live marketing show, and that's fine. But no, it wasn't by design, but we've learned a lot as we've gone, and the eyes have opened up. But we have always had an editorial calendar of people that we have wanted to have on. But I don't look at Facebook Live as this lead gen machine like I am specifically going to try to get X company on here because I want to turn them into a sponsor and or into some sort of consulting opportunity. That's not the way I approached it. And maybe I should have, but I just kind of let it happen organically. The DOYO Live dailies with the breakout session leaders, again, that's a different format. That's a 5-minute show that the individual contributors were obviously breakout session leaders contributing to the platform. I don't just wing it when it comes. So that was up until September. In September, we opened up our Facebook Live to an inbound strategy to where we put out a form and we said, do you want to be on a DOYO Live marketing show? This is what it does. We delivered this many impressions, all the features, benefits, statistics. We had over 35 people fill out the form and said that they actually want to be on the show. And when we looked at that, it was actually shocking that that many people that can go Facebook Live themselves actually wanted to grab our audience and sit next to me and be interviewed. And we looked at that and we said, well, if we schedule this out over the next, 35 weeks, that's half a year's worth of shows, and we can't get to everybody. We may lose some interest. So we tried to up the amount of people within that and the frequency in order to be able to get better coverage. But we didn't kind of prioritize any of those individuals. It was, again, more of along the lines of, you RSVP, we'll find your date that will work, and et cetera, et cetera. So we did have more of an inbound kind of strategy geared on that. And it was exciting to see that I've got, 5 meetings this week with people to talk marketing, which is amazing. And then I don't just wing it when I show up. I don't know, I've got a couple of talents. One, I'm incredibly stubborn as a human being. That's why I'm fairly decent at content marketing, because of the fact that I'm willing to be very pragmatic about it. Number two, blessed with having a lot of energy and enthusiasm. So that's kind of a prerequisite. And three, I'm pretty good at looking around the web, social selling, figuring out where you went to college, your background, what your jobs are. Take a look at your social media, and I kind of remember that stuff, or I write it down, and then I bring that into the interview process to show that I've got some contextual background. And I'm going to try and surprise you a little bit. I'm going to make some jokes, make it very conversationally based, so that I do have done a little bit of my homework and I've investigated about you and your business. So I have some knowledge going into it. But again, that's a social selling tactic that all of us could be doing, whether it's on a Facebook Live or not. So great question. I appreciate the answer, or not the answer, the question. Thank you, Mike, for dropping by. I really appreciate it. This was recorded, so we are going to make this available on demand. We are at the top of the hour. I'm always sensitive to everybody's time, but I'm going to stick around, answer any questions that you may have, either in the Q&A or in the chat. Hope that you found today to be a valuable hour spent talking about Facebook Live. It's a strategy that I know that has worked for my business, and not just because we're a marketing entity, but if you have a content marketing strategy that's in play in your business today, this is the next evolution of that content marketing strategy, that you can take that same written content and provide expertise from this perspective, interview your customers to get testimonial, put together, a show, an interesting thing, and get after it and put yourself out there, be transparent, authentic, real. And I know you're going to win with it. It is a medium that is winning now. And if there's any way that I can be of any help to you, make sure that you connect with me. I'd be glad to do that. Otherwise, everybody have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a very Merry Christmas. It's the 21st. We're heading into the weekend, which means that the next time that we talk, we'll be heading into New Year's, and look for more great webinars. And again, thank you to our sponsors, Integrated IT Group and Valley Digital Services, for sticking with us on a year-long sponsorship for DOYO Live. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you.